On September 24th, Super Typhoon Ragasa, the most ferocious storm to hammer China this year, roared ashore in Guangdong province. The Wednesday landfall battered major urban centers with devastating winds that exceeded 200 kilometers per hour, alongside torrential rain. Gaining immense power over the South China Sea, the massive system unleashed its full fury upon Shenzhen, Zhuhai, and adjacent coastal areas, paralyzing transport, crippling infrastructure, and forcing millions of residents to shelter under urgent red-level typhoon warnings. The impact in Shenzhen, a metropolis of over 17 million and a vital financial and technology powerhouse, was immediate and catastrophic. Streets that were bustling with traffic and commuters just yesterday are now eerie and silent as the entire city enacted an emergency shutdown. Even the towering skyscrapers, designed for high winds, were seen visibly swaying as the ferocious gusts violently rattled their glass exteriors.
海水倒灌啊，站在上面，人行道都这么高，两个车，哎呦，保佑赶紧停啊，不能再逛，再逛就要淹到上来了。
Dozens of high-rise windows exploded under the pressure, raining sharp shards of glass down onto the deserted boulevards below. Construction cranes collapsed entirely at multiple sites, and scaffolding was violently ripped apart, scattering debris across financial districts. The Shenzhen Metro halted all operations across multiple key lines, and both long-distance bus and ferry services were entirely suspended.
Wow. 没有啊，刚这边那个也在烧。拜拜。有没有东西？靠，这会儿实在又是了去了。
At Bao'an International Airport, virtually all flights were grounded as crews fought to keep terminal buildings secure against the typhoon's unrelenting fury. Zhuhai, the coastal city situated immediately west of Macau, experienced the most punishing conditions. Ragasa's destructive gusts tore through seaside districts, ripping the rooftops clean off entire residential blocks, while persistent heavy rain drowned narrow streets and markets in floodwater. Widespread power outages instantly plunged entire neighborhoods into darkness after the storm violently toppled massive transmission towers and snapped power lines. Emergency services are struggling desperately to reach the hardest-hit zones as main roads are impassable, choked by fallen trees and overturned vehicles. Hospitals are treating residents wounded by shrapnel-like flying debris and shattered glass, while rescue teams brave the extreme conditions to answer urgent distress calls. The China Meteorological Administration confirmed Ragasa reached sustained wind speeds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour at the moment of landfall, securing its place among the most powerful typhoons to impact South China in recorded history. Although torrential rainfall caused immediate flash flooding in lower areas, experts emphasized that the typhoon's sheer wind force, far more than the rain, represented the most significant threat. Vehicles were nearly blown onto the sidewalks, metal billboards were twisted into unrecognizable wreckage, and whole rows of mature trees were violently uprooted, leaving city streets smothered in debris. In preparation for the storm, Guangdong authorities enacted strict precautionary protocols, issuing the highest-level typhoon warnings, suspending all schools and government operations, and mandating coastal evacuations. Over 25,000 residents were safely relocated from highly vulnerable villages and fishing communities lining the Pearl River Delta. Temporary shelters were rapidly opened and fully staffed to accommodate the evacuees. Furthermore, officials imposed stringent maritime controls, ordering thousands of fishing boats and large cargo vessels to immediately dock and secure ahead of Ragasa's destructive arrival. Despite these massive preemptive measures, the sheer intensity of the storm proved overwhelming for sections of the province. Shenzhen saw reports of major factory roofs collapsing and warehouses lying in ruins, while Zhuhai suffered extensive damage to local businesses after storefront windows were smashed and valuable inventories were drenched. The overall financial impact is projected to be staggering, with initial assessments indicating billions of yuan in devastating economic losses across the critical manufacturing, logistics, and trade sectors. As Ragasa now tracks further inland, the storm is finally showing signs of gradual weakening. However, authorities issued stern warnings regarding lingering critical risks. Meteorologists emphasize that secondary disasters like landslides and flash floods remain a high possibility in the mountainous regions, given the dangerous saturation of soil from days of relentless rainfall. Railways and major highways connecting Guangdong to adjacent provinces were suspended due to severe safety hazards, with engineers immediately dispatched to conduct vital track and bridge inspections before service can even be considered for resumption. China's Ministry of Emergency Management has poured additional rescue teams and crucial resources into Guangdong, including specialized units expertly trained in advanced disaster relief and medical support. The National Power Grid Company has initiated massive, large-scale operations to urgently restore power, while local governments simultaneously mobilize thousands of workers to aggressively clear blocked roads and undertake rapid repair of the critically damaged infrastructure. Ragasa's devastating landfall has instantly crippled international trade flows. The Pearl River Delta, site of China's busiest global ports in Shenzhen and Guangzhou, saw all shipping activities halted, creating immediate delays for both exports and imports within one of the world's most essential logistics corridors. Analysts caution that the typhoon's impact will severely exacerbate existing supply chain disruptions, which were already stressed by seasonal weather patterns and global shipping backlogs. This latest catastrophe is now added to an alarming and growing ledger of extreme weather events that China has endured throughout 2025, following earlier catastrophic floods in the north and summer months marked by record-shattering heat waves. Experts cite the rapid increase in the frequency and severity of these storms as clear evidence of the destructive impact of climate change on the region, starkly underscoring the extreme vulnerability of highly dense coastal cities like Shenzhen and Zhuhai. For the immediate future, Guangdong remains locked under high alert. Emergency shelters are now operating at full capacity. City streets are predominantly deserted, and millions of anxious residents are holding tight, awaiting the definitive all-clear signal that the storm has fully departed. Although the skies are forecasted to gradually clear within the next few days, the immense and lengthy process of recovery and rebuilding is only now getting underway.